Everything we've analyzed so far has used fixed delay numbers. 80 picoseconds here, 50, 45 there, clean, tidy, predictable. Real silicon is nothing like that. The delay of a transistor changes depending on how it was manufactured, what voltage is powering it, and how hot it is. And here's what makes this dangerous. A design that passes timing perfectly at one set of conditions can fail catastrophically at another without changing a single gate. This is the PVT problem: process, voltage, temperature. Three variables, each one capable of swinging your path delays by factors of two or more, all happening simultaneously in ways you can't fully control. In this lecture, we're going to break down each of these variables, show you exactly how they affect delays, and explain why STA tools have to run not one timing analysis, but many before a chip can be signed off. Let's start with process variation because it's one of the most engineers don't fully appreciate until they've seen it in real data. Transistors are fabricated using some of the most precise manufacturing humans that have ever developed. Lithography, doping, deposition, etching, all controlled to atomic scale precision. And yet, despite all of that, you cannot make two transistors exactly the same. Channel length varies slightly across a wafer. Oxide thickness isn't perfectly uniform. Doping concentrations shift from die to die. These aren't defects, they're just the physics of manufacturing at this scale. And these tiny variations have a direct effect on transistor drive current. A transistor with a slightly shorter channel or a thinner oxide drives more current. It switches faster. One with a longer channel or less ideal doping switches slower. Across an entire chip, millions of transistors, this variation adds up. Some chips from the same wafer will be measurably faster than others. That's why we define two process extremes: the slow corner where transistors are weaker, and the fast corner where they are stronger. The second factor is supply voltage, and this one has a clean, intuitive explanation. Transistor drive current scales with supply voltage. Higher voltage means higher current, which means the transistor can charge and discharge lower capacitances faster, shorter delay. Lower voltage means less current, slower switching, larger delay. The same gate at zero point 0.9 volts switches at 45 picoseconds. Drop the voltage to zero point 0.8, that is just 100 millivolts lower, and the delay jumps to 60 picoseconds. That's a 33% increase for a 10% voltage reduction. Now think about what causes voltage to drop on a real chip. Power delivery isn't perfect. There's an IR drop across the power grid. During peak activity, supply voltage sags. Battery-powered devices operate across a wide voltage range. Dynamic voltage scaling deliberately drops voltage to save power. All these scenarios are real. All of them slow down your gates, and all of them have to be accounted for in timing analysis. Temperature is the third variable, and it behaves in a way that surprises a lot of students the first time they encounter it. As temperature rises, carrier mobility inside transistors decreases. The electrons and holes that form the drive current collide more frequently with the crystal lattice as it vibrates more at higher temperatures. The result: lower drive current, slower switching, higher delay. Higher temperature also increases metal resistance in the interconnect, adding further delay to the wire segments. At lower temperatures, the opposite happens. Mobility increases, transistors get stronger, switching gets faster. The same gate at 25 degrees centigrade takes 50 picoseconds. At 125 degrees centigrade, that rises to 80 picoseconds, a 60% increase purely from temperature. A chip running hot in a data center rack and the same chip in a cold environment are operating with meaningfully different timing budgets. And unlike voltage, which you can somewhat control, temperature depends on workload, ambient conditions, cooling, and package, factors that vary throughout the life of a product. Here's where the three variables come together and where timing analysis has to get systematic. Each possible combination of process voltage and temperature is called a PVT corner. The three most important ones are shown in the table. The SS corner, that is slow process, low voltage, and high temperature, stacks all three factors in the direction of maximum delay. Everything conspires to make gates as slow as possible. The TT corner, typical process, nominal voltage, nominal temperature, represents the middle of the road. This is roughly what you'd see in a benchtop characterization. The FF corner, which is fast process, high voltage, and low temperature, is the opposite of SS. Transistors are stronger, voltage is higher, temperature is lower, delays are minimized. The key insight: these aren't hypothetical. Every chip you ship will operate somewhere in this space. Some chips will need SS at the end of battery life in a hot environment. Others will run FF, fresh off the charger in an air conditioned room. STA has to verify that the design works at all of them. Let's put numbers on the corner to corner variation for a single gate. At the SS corner, 90 picoseconds. At the TT corner, 60, and an FF, 40 picoseconds. That's a 2.25x range between the slowest and the fastest operating condition for the exact same gate in the exact same circuit, just under different PVT conditions. Now think about what that means for a timing path with 20 gates in series. A path that totals 800 picoseconds at SS might run at only 350 picoseconds at FF. Same netlist, completely different behavior. That is why you can't sign off timing at a single corner. A path that passes at TT with comfortable slack may violate setup at SS. A path that barely meets hold at TT may have a severe hold violation at FF. Only by running all three, and often many more, corners can you be confident the chip is genuinely clean. Setup timing checks the maximum delay through a path, so the worst case for setup is the corner that makes gates as slow as possible. That's the SS corner: slow process, low voltage, high temperature. All three factors push delays up. Every gate in the path takes longer to switch. Wires have higher resistance. The cumulative arrival time at the captured register is at its maximum. If your path meets setup timing at the SS corner, if the signal still arrives before the required time, even under these worst case slow conditions, then you'll know it will meet setup at TT and FF as well, because those corners are faster. This is the governing logic of worst case analysis. Verify at the extremes, and the middle takes care of itself. For setup, that extreme is SS. Hold timing checks the minimum delay through a path, so the worst case for hold is the corner that makes gates as fast as possible. That's the FF corner: fast process, high voltage, low temperature. Transistors are at their strongest, supply voltage is at its peak, temperature is low, boosting carrier mobility further. The signal races through the combinational logic as quickly as physically possible. If that minimal arrival time is short enough to land inside the hold window of the capture flip flop, that is, if the new data reaches FF2 before the hold window is closed, you have a violation. The rule is clean and worth memorizing. Hold failures hide at the fast corner. The exact same conditions that make your chip run fast are the conditions most likely to surface hold violations. High performance and hold robustness are in direct tension with each other. This slide crystallizes the entire PVT story into one rule that every timing engineer carries in his head. Setup worst case, slow corner. Signals are slowest, maximum delay, setup violations show up here. Hold worst case is the fast corner. Signals are fastest, minimum delay, hold violations show up there. These two corners are in opposites in every dimension: process, voltage, temperature, and they stress the design in opposite ways. A design that's comfortable at TT can simultaneously have a setup violation at SS and a hold violation at FF. This is the fundamental tension in timing closure. You're not just trying to pass one corner, you're trying to pass all of them at once, with every path sitting in a valid window across the full PVT space. In practice, STA tools don't just run three corners. Large designs use dozens. Different voltage rates may operate at different levels. Different temperatures ranges apply to automotive versus consumer versus server applications. Some designs use multiple process corners for NMOS and PMOS transistors independently. The so-called best case NMOS, worst case PMOS, and the worst case NMOS and best case PMOS corners used to stress specific path types. That is, when one of the types of transistors is fast and the other is slow, like the SF and the FS corner. The diagram shows the idea: SS for setup checking, FF for hold checking, TT for nominal checking, and potentially many more corners orbiting the design, each one probing a different failure mode. Every one of these corners runs a full timing analysis: forward propagation, backward propagation, slack at every node. The chip isn't signed off until it passes all of them. Let's see this in our familiar timing path: FF1, NAND, wire, inverter, NOR, FF2. At the SS corner, 360 picoseconds. At the TT, 280. And at FF, 190. Same physical circuit, same logical function, a part delay range of nearly 2x between the fastest and the slowest corner. Think about what this means for a timing sign-off. At TT, the path has a positive slack against a 400 picosecond clock. At SS, it's arriving at 360 picoseconds, dangerously close. At FF, it's blazing through at 190 picoseconds, fast enough to raise hold concerns. A single corner analysis would miss at least one of these problems. Multi-corner analysis catches all of them. This is exactly why the PVT framework exists. Let's run the numbers at SS. Clock period 400 picoseconds. Setup time 70 picoseconds. Required time 330 picoseconds. That's our deadline. At the SS corner, the path delay has gone up to 360 picoseconds. The signal arrives 30 picoseconds after the required time. Slack is 330 minus 360 or minus 30 picoseconds. It's a setup violation. This path was fine at TT. It had a 50 picosecond of positive slack there, but move to the SS corner where every gate is slower and the wires are more resistive, and those 50 picoseconds of margin have been completely consumed and then some. This is why saying timing passes without specifying the corner is meaningless. At TT, it passes. At SS, it fails. The chip has to work at both. Now let's check hold at the FF corner. Hold time requirement 80 picoseconds. At the FF corner where everything is running fast, the minimum path delay shrinks to 70 picoseconds. Slack is 70 minus 80 or minus 10 picoseconds. It's a hold violation. So the exact same path that was failing setup at SS is now also failing hold at FF, just in the opposite direction. At SS, it's too slow. At FF, it's too fast. The acceptable window has a floor and a ceiling, and this path is violating both ends simultaneously at the two extreme corners. This is a path that will require careful optimization. You need to add enough delay to fix the hold violation at FF without making the setup violation at SS any worse. When an STA tool runs multi-corner analysis, it produces an report that looks like a table on the slide. At SS, the setup slack is minus 30 picoseconds, violation. Hold slack is 120 picoseconds, comfortable. The path is slow, so hold is not a concern. At TT, setup slack is 50 picoseconds, hold slack is plus 40 picoseconds, both pass. At FF, the setup slack is plus 140 seconds. The path is fast, so setup is easy. The hold slack is minus 10 picoseconds, a violation. Two violations at opposite corners on what looks like a clean design at a typical corner. If you only ran TT, you'd ship a broken chip. The rule is absolute. The design must pass every check at every corner. One red cell in this table means the chip doesn't tape out. So let's lock in the core ideas. Gate delays are not fixed numbers. They vary with process, voltage, and temperature. Each of these factors can swing delay by tenths of percent individually. Combined, they create a range of 2x or more between the worst and the best case. STA captures this by defining PVT corners, specific combinations of P, V, and T that represent the extremes the chip will encounter in real operation. The rule worth memorizing: setup worst case is at the slow corner, SS, which is slow process, low voltage, high temperature. Hold worst case is at the fast corner, FF, which is a fast process, high voltage, low temperature. A chip is only timing clean when setup and hold pass at every corner. A pass at TT but a failure at SS or FF is still a failing chip. In the next lecture, we'll look at clock tree synthesis and clock skew, how the clock signal itself gets distributed across the chip, why it doesn't arrive everywhere at the same time, and how the skew affects both setup and hold.